It's Gambit versus North at the Starladder Series 6, and it's time to see if Gambit can bounce back at all in this, because recently, and most recently, we've seen that North have actually taken charge of over this Gambit roster, but this is a different North we've seen, and North is actually looking pretty impressive.
This is another one of these teams where we have to analyze within the context of a tournament because it is so new and this is their first offline event together, right? Like obviously online they played some games within Pro League. They also played, yeah, they look pretty good, right? Yeah. And then it's against a team with a player who decided to put himself on the bench. I'm pretty sure of Hobbit, who's now staying after their result. Well, he's here again after their result ESO 1 New York. I think, Sean, I don't know what you think. I think the fact that they did well at ESO 1 New York is the situation. It's lulled Hobbit into the sense of, hey, maybe we could be good. Maybe I'll hang around.
Yeah, why does this always happen with teams, right? When they're like dead in the water and everything's not working, they know they're gonna have a roster change, and that's when they do well. Yeah. And it baits everyone into sticking with the gang. The gang's gonna stay together, Chad. We're gonna run the table here at Starladder. No, it's just.
I think it's like the last relationship I had. Not the last one I had. The one before that, right? And it was like, because I was comfortable, I was like, I was in a place of comfort. Women out there are gonna think I'm horrible. Anyway, I was in a place of comfort, and then like it was like occasionally we'd go and do something fun, and I was like, yeah, this is fun, but really it was bad.
You're bored of it, and you just want to stop. You want to end it now. Just kill the pain.
You were just lazy. You just didn't want to do the.
And then Hobbit, they had like a fun. They had fun. They were in New York. It was a great time. Everyone remembers
the major. Oh, I want to major with these guys.
They ate some cheesecake and stuff, and they're out having a good time. And they're like, man, this is awesome. We're doing good again.
Look at all the lights.
Yeah. And then this event, unfortunately, it's gonna come crashing back down to earth, and he's gonna be like, that's why I hate this bitch. Well, maybe I don't know. I got problems. I need to see someone.
He's quite a happy person, Hobbit. Yeah, I don't think you'd use that word
really
exactly.
Took a dark
Hobbit's
turn.
quite a nice, So don't take advice on anything to do with relationships from this man.
Especially not with relationships.
Maybe look to Sean. He's the married one here.
He made it work.
He's done it. He's succeeded in the dangerous moments. Yeah. Can Hobbit succeed in the dangerous moment is the other question.
I think they'll probably still play relatively unbridled in the sense of they're going to be looser. They're not going to go, oh, we had a good result at ESO 1 New York, now we're just going to go back to how it was. Yeah. I think that Hobbit should have allowed, before going, this doesn't work, allowed Blade more time to work, because he is a miracle worker. Yes, I think he is a fantastic in-game leader. I think now that he is in a coaching position with some positive tools, he can get the most out of these guys.
For me, he's like the gatekeeper of the CIS region, right? Not just his experience, but the way he approaches the game, just his mindset with it as well. And the thing that convinced me this even more so, like I've seen him, I've even played against him in the past. One of the things I would say about Blade is he is so hands-on with it. We watched it in New York, and he was literally with them the whole time.
You could see him right there, actually. He was literally motioning about throwing a nade. So he's definitely talking with Hobbit about throwing some kind of nade right now. And yeah, he's groomed so many talented players in the CIS region. It's unreal how many people have come through his leadership, actually. So I think even if Hobbit were to leave, I actually mentioned yesterday, I think if Fitch was on Gambit at the same time Blade was, he would have made it work. And Fitch would actually be a good player, because I liked when Fitch was on Gambit. I think he had an excellent entrance to Gambit.
That was Malmo, right?
Yeah, he got solved a little bit over time because he kept doing the same things over and over. But with someone like Blade coaching behind him, he could make someone like Fitch work out.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. And I think, like, I look at this roster, the only thing that I don't like about having Mir there is I look at, people call me out on it, but when this is from my experience playing against the Dren and Dozier, they're passive players on the CT side. I don't mean it that they're not going to go aggro at all, because they like to go for some IV control on maps like Train. They will push. What I mean is, when I would play against them and I would do an outside take on Train, because this just is haunting me for the MLG Columbus qualifier. Anyway, we'd push out onto Yard, and we would do like a set piece, we'd do like an isolation smokes, and we would be expecting players in certain positions. These guys would just sit in old bomb train, back of the Yard, with an M4 just mowing 4 people down. I'm like, how are we losing these duels? We have AKs. Like, that's why I am probably tainted with that, but we're at North now, and these guys, I think that since MSL has no longer been the in-game leader and they've had Cadian take over, you're getting more out of AZ and Kirby consistently because they can go looser. I just feel that way. I feel like it looks like they get to play looser.
No, I think this version of North is the best version of North I've seen in a long time, obviously outside of the Stockholm win that they had. But the players look comfortable. And that's not a knock on MSL. I think MSL is an excellent in-game leader. It's just, I don't know, something has worked with KRB and AZ, and I mean, Cadian actually looks really strong as well. He's having a lot of impact rounds, and Valdi obviously has performed in all of their matches so far that I've seen. So there's no weak points right now when I watch North, and it's weird. They're opting to play maps that you wouldn't think that they would play with such a new roster.
Yeah. I like that Ave gets to be probably more hands-on with Cadian as well because he is new to that in-game leadership role. And obviously, Ave from 1.6 was a very good tactical mind. I don't think that he will be offering anything too CSGO related, right? But he has going to learn very quickly because it's still Counter-Strike. I don't know what would... I think a train would be good for both teams, actually.
Problem is, like, Gambit like to play train. They used to like to play it a lot, but recently they've kind of struggled on it. It's gone down.
Yeah, I think that a lot of teams probably didn't like playing them on it. If it is train, that is a map that it appears that North have prioritized.
Or Nuke. Could be Nuke.
If it's Nuke,
Both
I think North have made a big mistake.
I do as well. I think Gambit is very, very strong on Nuke,
Yeah.
and that's the one map that I would be scared if I were North.
Has to be train. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
I
good.
just felt like it just smelt like a train, right? Because I think from what I've seen, at least online in a very short period of time from North, they had a lot of depth and diversity. Your riflers can get a lot of dirty work done in the yard, playing aggressive in duos, locking down, the choke points. But this is a map where, if you give Mo a little bit of space, he can actually light it up. He's a player who I have seen on that AWP go huge on a map like this.
The last time they actually played against each other was a 16-1, but not too bad, at least from the Gambit side. But most recently for North, it's something that's going very much in their favor.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a map that people typically were picking against North a lot of times in best of threes, and all of a sudden they got very good on it. And
It was MSL's permaban for a while.
yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden it became potentially one of North's best maps towards the end of MSL's tenure. I think, if I remember correctly, looking at North's head-to-head, is they beat Gambit on train maybe 2 or 3 times in a row, obviously outside of that 16-1.
Yeah.
Was the Space Soldiers game the one where obviously there wasn't the full lineup?
The Gambit game.
Yeah.
I want to say it was. That was the one where Wuxic wasn't there.
Possibly. My memory's getting real bad, guys.
What was that?
Make
That
sure
was
you have the
It was
fish oil.
Space Soldiers.
Stockholm,
Remember,
right?
I was have said it was from the major.
I don't think Gambit played. Oh, you said the Space Soldiers on
Yeah,
the Hell
Space
Races.
Soldiers, Space Soldiers.
With,
Space
yeah,
Soldiers.
I
yeah.
believe that was about the full roster
Was
because
that
Space
on
Soldiers are a
train?
team that can
I'm
also
s-
play.
It wouldn't have
thinking
been
of
on. It
Hellraisers
wouldn't have
on
been
what
on
I'm
train
thinking.
though, because Space Soldiers only played Inferno with hardstyle, if I
okay.
remember rightly.
Well, then that's a legit result then.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of Counter-Strike being played. Maybe that's a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
it's
a
all,
There's
it's all
too
a blur.
much.
It's all
There's
a
too
blur.
much.
I think this one here is going to be very weird stylistically, because I think that now that there's a bit more wiggle room for the player, I think that Gambit can out-strat North, right, on their T side. I think that they can definitely outplay the pieces of the puzzle. But with AZ and Kyobi kind of being a bit more sporadic now, it's harder to read. That's not something which is like, okay, well, with MSL, they played here, here, and here, and this is their moves they did. I don't think Blade can do the same level of counter-stratting or preparing for certain duels.
Yeah, I think Gambit's key thing that they need is they need to have Mir have a good game, because yesterday when we saw them play Fragsters, he had 2 kills on the opening pistol round, and Fragsters hit the B bomb site. Literally every gun round after that, he had 2 kills at the end of the half.
That's rough.
Yeah, so 0 kills throughout the entire half on his bomb site being attacked. And he can't be missing like that, obviously, on train against North, because North has very skilled players, and I'd imagine they're going to have a lot of weird outside hits here.
I think there's a duel that you could probably try and isolate if you wanted to go for an early pick if you're North against Gambit, which is the way that Dosia approaches Ivy. It's quite slow at the start. He doesn't actually go for too much. If they want to go there, they'll send multiple numbers. They'll send the AWPer there. They'll actually try and take full control of that area and then go for a bit of an old like VP type squeeze. But when they're doing a default and they want to go inside, it's usually just Dozier either there on his own or going for a bit of a lurk play. So that is something which they can maybe, flirt with that idea of seeing, because I know the guys from North don't mind, lobbing that Molotov down, dropping that smoke, going relatively aggressive on that part of the map. I'm interested to see if they try and target him, because a lot of the times on defaults, you're going to see the 2-1-2 split, right? These guys tend to do more of like a 2-2-1 or even a 3. When I'm saying these numbers, guys, it's basically when we set up our defaults, we're talking the map spread. So if I'm saying like a 3-1-1, I'm talking about 3 towards the brown walls / pop dog, 1 towards Team Main, and 1 towards Ivy. That's kind of more of a spread that I do see Gambit go for, or at least I remember rightly. So it's just a really small duel, a really small piece of the puzzle, but these are the things that you can look at, especially at this level of Counter-Strike, at taking advantage of.
So we saw that North will get to choose a side. I'm assuming most likely going to be CT as per for this.
Yeah.
And then
Probably
we'll
so.
see whether Gambit can kind of pull themselves together on the T side. We say about like Blade's influence and a more tactical side coming out there. Could that give them a chance to get the ball rolling?
Maybe so. Whenever I watch Gambit, I feel like they do tons of inside hits. And like Chad said, they leave Doja towards the Ivies. They're going to keep 3-4 people towards the outside. He throws that smoke molly, so that way you can't have a cheat quick rotation towards the inner bomb site. And then they hit inner. So if those hits are successful, then yeah, they'll be fine. But I don't know. I think North is going to be pretty prepared for that.
Valdez, the inside anchor, right?
Yeah.
And he's that one guy. He's always going to get his. Like he's either going to delay and give you enough information, or he's going to get 1 or 2 kills, and that should be enough for you to be able to get back into that bomb site. So it's more, I think, looking at who's going to do the secondary AWPing. Obviously, Cadian was the main AWPer, and then I believe it's AZ who picks it up from time to time. So I think that if it does become an AWP battle, like if Mo is going off and finding space, then there is a good chance for Gambit. I think he's a big win condition for their T side.
Okay, well, it is prediction time, but before that, don't forget you guys can go to Hellcase and put in code SLTV and get yourself some extra bonuses for that. And Chad, which way are you siding this time around?
I'm going to go with North. I think that it's starting to look the way it should with this team. You have the 3 clear stars, Volder, Kirby, and AZ, all looking more and more on point.
Yep.
Gade actually has a lot of impact on key rounds, like on pistol, and Cadian with the AWP. I think he's very proficient. I think that he's definitely turned around the Cadian from years ago, and this guy is looking to become one of the best Danish teams around.
Such a good point, actually. That whole Cadian of the past has almost been forgotten now by what he's managed to do from Rogue going onto here. So yeah, good point. Sean?
Yeah, I agree with Chad. I really like what I see out of this new North team. I think they have a lot of confidence, and they're willing to take aim duels that young teams are willing to take, but they're not making like outrageous plays. They're still working as a team, so I'm going North.
And I will go with North as well, because I don't want Adren tweeting me any more angry tweets, and I'm going to avoid that man as much as I can as we go and get into the game. Harry and Vendetta, it's your time to shine.
The ongoing feud of James versus Adren really is one for the history books. But yeah, no, I think you know, the whole desk rallying behind the Danes there. I'm wondering, to what extent are you going to be agreeing or disagreeing with that?
I feel a little bit more flip-floppy on this one. Again, I came in feeling really good about how North were playing all the way up until seeing them actually play. And that's when we had them obviously versus Energy yesterday. And like the first half we got to see out of North was so lackluster and so, well, yeah, I guess unexpected, at least on my end, from what we'd seen on them, you know, in terms of performances online leading up to this point, that it put, you know, I guess reasonable fear in me. And for Gambit, yeah, they haven't gone up against the strongest opponent so far. Yeah, they did drop, you know, they didn't have a convincing display versus Fragsters yesterday on Dust 2. But they have been getting better at Train. And again, it is a pretty comfortable map for them, as they mentioned on the disc as well. They did go up against Mouse Sports on the map in New York and did a pretty good job of that, winning 16-11. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty hopeful about Gambit's chances, actually, in this. I need to see more of North before I can get really sold on them. So it's not necessarily a slight on them. It's just that the fact that they are pretty new out the gate with Gideon behind the wheel.
That's definitely a fair enough statement to make. The one thing for me, the one question mark around this Gambit roster is going to be Mir still.
Yeah.
He has really not gotten off to the best of starts since joining this squad a little while ago now. Never really looking like he's found like that comfortable position with these guys. You know, he always kind of feels like he's been hamstrung to fill in, like, you know, oh, well, this is, you know, like
playing
this,
the water boy role.
this is where you play now, like, you know, and he never seems comfortable. If you think back to his time when he was in Vega, it's like he was a very, very different player altogether almost. And
He was balling.
Yeah, he certainly was. Whereas here, that has not continued. That hasn't kept up that same performance. He's usually the guy kind of floating down towards the bottom of the board. And another man I think we need to see step up is going to be Hobbit, because he's always done quite well in the games they play, but it's always been the most kind of slow building of starts. And
Only ekes it out.
yeah, but you know, then you look over at North. I agree with your sentiment there as Arcadian, the new leadership. It's going to pose a lot of questions, you know, and we haven't really seen all that much from them just yet, especially not here on LAN. If that performance yesterday is anything to go by, then, you know, you're probably not fancying their odds too highly.
Yeah, no, but I think this first half is going to be super indicative of how it goes. Obviously, they mentioned the fact that the T side of Gambit has been pretty good as of late, and it really was. 10 rounds versus Mouse Sports to set them off to a good pace, and I'm curious to see how they can do if they actually don't get the T side rolling, if they actually have something to offer on the CT side as well. And especially considering, you know, now it's going to be AZ, but if Valda has a big game as well for North, that could be all they need. Oh, nice little drop there for AZ. He was one of the players on the side of North that didn't have too much to offer up versus Energy. So good to see him getting off to a hot start. I see a lot of utility actually as well on the side of Gambit. 2 flashes, smoke on Doja, and a Molotov and a smoke on Tamir.
Yeah, that utility gonna get thrown out over here towards the A bomb site as now this push poised from Gambit starts to make its way in. Adren leading the charge. Gabe gonna go undetected, but now they know where he is, and he's only on 12 HP. He's doing a good job of avoiding these crosshairs, but only for the time being as he does fall. Now Cadian inside of this bomb site along with Kiabi. Going to be back-to-back. Valda and AZ both rotating in. So it's actually a 4-man stack here now for North as Gambit continue to walk into the meat grinder. Ooh, Adren, okay. He's able to go ahead and finally pick that up. Even tags down Valda to 3 HP. And I tell you what, I mean, if you think back to that game yesterday, Adren was the real shining star. He's still looking good. He's still kind of keeping up that top form that we've come to expect from him. The bomb goes down here for Gambit, and what a turnaround this round has been. It was a 4v3, now turned into a 3v2 with bomb planted in favor of Gambit, so they can just afford to sit back and play these post plants, play the trade game. Can't give AZ or Valde away back into this, and Doja seems pretty keen at that. Yeah. He's taking these fights. He's only on 18 HP. It's ballsy.
A little bit too keen here. Has actually managed to temper himself a little bit. Might be running right into the hands of AZ, or rather the other way around. Bit of a back and forth battle here. Doja's finally going to be able to, well, do chip damage. Adrena's going to sort things out, and Valda, who had 3 HP from the get-go there, well, he's just going to get a dodge and hold on to what little he had. But yeah, Gambit managed to strike back after AZ opening things up there. Adren, again, doing lots of damage, and you said it. You know, we've come to expect a very high level out of the Kazakhstani player, and more often than not, he doesn't disappoint. And I think that's a necessity for Gambit as well. As much as, you know, the desk mentioned Mir, and definitely you need him to be able to perform better than what he did on Dust 2 yesterday, and just better than what he's done in general ever since he joined the team. I think, again, Gambit's success, you know, lives or dies by how well Adren can play most of the time. So, Molotovs go out. And Black Walls, making sure there's no aggressive North players with pistols there. So map control gained for a little while, at least on the side of Gambit. They have dropped the bomb back in T-spawn, so not really looking too interested to do anything quickly. That makes sense as well. Running into a potential stack, like we're seeing being built up here on the side of North towards Inner, is what you want to avoid. Well, cheeky attempt there from North. I'm liking that. You know, talked about how Optic, they hadn't exactly watched the Starladder demos in terms of how you're going to use your utility. North seemingly have. So triple nade not working out though, but you got to compliment the effort as the final attack comes in here for Gambit out towards Yard, utilizing that range that they have to their advantage.
Yeah, this is looking like it could be a flawless round on Acadian. Yeah, one, that should be it. No, never mind. Okay, then Val, they're going to be able to make things that much more expensive. Gambit, though, will be picking up a second round here. There's no way back into this for Valda. He is well and truly locked out of this round. Going to be a second, as we say. Now, for Gambit, I do wonder, one of the questions, you know, for me heading forward is there's obviously that whole up in the air thing now with Hobbit, right? And the fact that he could be making a departure. You know, one thing is you always kind of think about whenever players are brought into this team, it never feels like they quite fit into the Gambit structure. You think about everyone who they've tried to bring in the past, they still haven't found that person who looks fantastic. Do you think some of that responsibility lies on these 4 Gambit players then for maybe not being...
To take a backseat?
Yeah, like, you know, not so accommodating to these newer players.
I think you have to, but again, I think it's a very unique situation. This was something Duncan brought up as well. The fact that, you know, when Fitch got brought into the team, that was after Seuss left to go back to Na'Vi. After they won a major, obviously you have 4 players who've, you know, played at their peak performance to win the biggest competition in CS. Obviously, like I think it goes without saying that it's going to take a bit of convincing to let a guy who's pretty much only played Tier 3 online tournaments have the freedom that he might need to flourish. And even still, I think Fitch actually probably was the best fit they had really for a long time. He's doing, I feel like it was a better fit than Mir at least up to this point. But yeah, no, there's probably something to it. Because there's a limited amount of players in that region that Gambit can really bring into the lineup. So you have to actually take height for that.
Yeah, and so I wonder, do you think maybe if Hobbit does end up departing this roster, is that when we see some of these other players maybe given a bit more space?
Dren actually burns to death there. I mean, you'd hope so. They'd have to learn eventually, figure out what they need to do. I think getting him Blade might alleviate a little bit of pressure. That's a nice job from Hobbit there, expecting Valde to be in that cheeky position. He's going to find a third with some help of Hobbit as well. Mir's going to find the third. Gade with an MP5 is about to walk into the stepladder of doom. Stoja waits. But yeah, no, I think that might have to be the case. And again, they can't bring in just anyone. If they're going to go back to picking up Fitch once more, or if they're going to look to Tengri to find other players. I mean, we also have another Kazakhstani team that is kind of rising in the ranks in Avangar. So maybe you see someone like Buster or Kicker getting taken away from that side in order to bolster up the lineup. It's interesting times ahead, but again, it all relies on Hobbit actually being bought out of his contract, and I'm not so sure that's going to happen either. It remains to be seen, though. Either way, Gambit have gotten off to that solid start on their T side like they wanted to. Talked about how strong it looked in New York versus Mouse Sports. This is definitely how you want to set things up going further.
Gambit with a wall of 5 players over here toward B. You do have to worry about AZ down in Pop Dog if you are. This T side, he's going to be very, very quick on these rotations. And Gade even, we know this man likes to play pretty fast and loose with the rules. He's over towards main. If he starts to creep on it, maybe gets that information that no one's there, can start to aggress forward. They do spot out Hobbit on the ladder as well, so...
Dip this toes in.
Yeah, North starting to paint a mental picture of what they think could be going on in this round.
And the good thing for North right now is that they already have a 2-man setup here. It's something that we've seen, especially Envious do quite a bit. Except Valde's going to play down by Oil Train. Kadian covering off higher. He's actually going to back out of position the second the push comes in from Gambit. This could be big. Still finds the first onto Adran, but Valde getting caught out of position. That means Bomb most likely to go down here. And Gambit, they get to play the afterplant. They also have a Molotov on Mo. He's still behind that third train, but has a chance to get out of dodge as well.
Time ticking down, working against the Danes here, and Mo backing away. You mentioned that Molotov is going to go ahead and go down, so just Mir and Hobbit left up, and slowly but surely the frags are trickling in. It's one man left in the form of Hobbit, and Kierby sticking this defuse. He's gotten away with it. No chance for Hobbit to get back into that. Does dart down the ramp and save the AWP at the very end of the round at the very least, which, pretty decent to run away with. It will be first round on the board early here for North, and pretty convincing retake, all things considered, when you consider, the unfortunate timing with Kadian rotating off. Maybe there was a bit of miscommunication there as well between him and Valde, because, you notice he was actually holding the ramp position. It was Valde quickly peeling off to, kind of keep an eye on the same angle that led to him going down.
Yeah. I think that's a worry for Valde in that situation, is that somebody's pushed so far ahead along the lower train that Kadian's able to find the first frag. That means somebody could have gotten on top of the train while Kadian is dropped down. Valde needs to be concerned about multiple angles because they haven't immediately pushed out onto the bomb train. So he's in left in a bit of a 50-50 situation, and unfortunately for him, chooses to look the wrong way. But they do manage to have a pretty successful retake, as you mentioned. AZ's kill onto Mo. I thought Mo was out of dodge once he got up that lower ramp, but AZ being able to find him just in the nick of time, I think that's really what changes the round into the favor of North. Still, though, enough money to buy on the side of Gambit. As you mentioned, they did actually pick up that AWP to drop over for Mo. And I mean, they do have actually stronger buy altogether than what we're seeing on the North side. More utility to play off of, and I mean, already a lot of the utilities being expended from the CT side to get into forward positions, I should say. But I like that from North, though. Realizing what you have to work with and making the best out of it. It's really far forward, and that's probably not something that's going to be expected by Adran if he turns the corner here. Doja has made his all the way out in Ivy, uncontested. He's actually going to back out. That's, judging from the minimap, obviously you can see that would have been a golden opportunity for them to get into enemy lines. Now that opportunity has kind of gone away from him. Well, as I say that, still finds Kierby, and that takes Gade's focus away. So even though Kadian does rotate in, that has spread the defense north. And there we go. Adrian finds an opening. And Gambit doesn't really have to commit to anything as of right now. They can allow North to kind of stress out a bit, figure out how they want to rotate before they actually pounce on one bomb site. It's taking a ton of damage as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's going to start to be the worry here if you are this Gambit side. Now, thankfully, there's no utility apart from that Molotov up on Valda that could do too much damage. You know, one nade raiding in would be devastating, but Cadian, first man on the scene toward this B-bomb site. Rotation round in the back from AZ. That's something to keep an eye on. And Mo falls. He's going to get dispatched of by that lone flanker. AZ continuing this charge on in. It's just Hobbit and Mir left alive. 2 HP on Mir, and this man, he's been struggling. Gonna spot out Valda. Maybe tries to play the trigger discipline, you know, tries to wait and see if he can spot out that second man for North, and might come to regret it. So gonna be the round going the way of this CT side. They pull off the retake once more, all on the back of that very nice flank coming in from AZ. Second round of their name, but the bomb plant here for Gambit does mean that a buy is made possible. It's not going to be fantastic. Mir and Doja both going to look pretty limited in terms of what they can take with them.
He's probably going to have to opt for a Deagle. Let's see. Doja's still contemplating what he wants to buy, actually. Yeah, it's going to be the UMP. So they do manage to string together an okay buy, as you can see. Utility not all that much. It's going to be down to firepower for the Gambit side.
Yeah, it feels a bit worrying only having 2 smokes here for Gambit. But that's certainly going to help. Dren finding them an opener, a bit of leeway in this round. A potential avenue in towards this A-bomb site. In response to that, Gade going to try his hand at some aggression. Might extend the man advantage even further in favor of Gambit. Hobbit's already out from Pop Dog and behind the E-box. He's looking to try and keep things current here with an absolutely electrifying performance. Flash on through, and Hobbit going to go ahead and find himself that frag just Valda inside of this A-bomb site. He does not last long. Katie and the man at the helm of this North team now has the weight of the squad on his shoulders in a 1v4.
And not reasonable to expect him to actually go for this. Plant's going to go down. Gambit are already set in really, really good after plant positions. And Doja's been finding a lot of success, actually, just doing that slow move through Ivy. Seems like at times when things get chaotic, North kind of forget about that area. Doja's been able to find a frag every time he's gone there. Oh, the double peek as well. Nicely done from Gambit there, expecting Cadian's position. So solid team play coming out of Gambit here. They didn't have too much to work with in terms of utility, but they definitely make the crossfires and the synchronized push work to full effect. But again, North were losing quite a few members in these 2 rounds they managed to pick up. I'm not going to be able to rebuy here. It means golden opportunity for Gambit to actually get to 5.
At which point, that's already a fantastic start here from a Gambit, so they cannot be too disappointed with that. This man on the screen, Dren, is no stranger to finding openers for this team. He's going to look to try an entry out here towards A. Hasn't spotted anyone just yet. The rest of the gang outside of the B-bomb site. North, they've stacked everyone up with their USPs. I wonder if they do anything where they all sit on top of each other. They're a big fan of that. Hey, they are. Wasn't there you go.
Love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure the ins and outs as to the idea. I guess, you know, it's just so shocking to a Gambit player that maybe, you know, all those bullets flying at them at once.
I mean, you're going to struggle to find out who you're going to go for, right?
Yeah.
It's not as easy every time. We don't see towers too often nowadays, as Element would say. Towers are so 80s. That's what North have opted for. And I mean, I can appreciate a little bit of a different take to how to play your eco rounds. Question is how patient they're going to be with it. AZ seems to be a little bit eager to move around. Dren coming in from probably like the least favorable angle for the North players to get the first frag.
I do love how they don't even dismantle it straight away. They just sit there still,
like,
even once he spotted them. And then the nades rain in, and it's like, oh, this was a bad idea. But Gambit going to be finding themselves a 5th round. I still have yet to see one of those big huddles actually work, you know. Saw it in Pro League recently as well. And all it meant was just everyone died in like a really spectacular ace for, I think it was like, I don't know, like Sparrow or something like that. But I don't remember who exactly. It doesn't really matter. Here's a 5-2 scoreline right now. But a buy on the board for North. Going to be rifles across the board. No out on Cadian, so he's only on that M4 hype, which...
How does Hobbit have 0 utility? And 3,500 left.
Because this is a round for fragging Halvor. He's a big-time pugger, and he's out here. Never mind, maybe it's good that he didn't have the utility. He's going to go down to
Save some
Kirby.
money.
So it was pretty high IQ play there. You can't lose money if you don't have anything invested. Gade and Val, they're going to be shutting down this play out towards A, and just the Dren left in a 1v5. This is asking a lot of this man.
Props for the tempo change from Gambit's end, trying to catch North off guard, but definitely doesn't pan out. Well, there you go. I mean, if you're going to get sent in as a bit of a, I guess, I don't even know what you would call it. It's not a decoy either, because obviously he is a man on a mission.
I guess he's kind of like the
personal
point man,
terminator, right?
He's like, yeah, like just charges in. It's like, you know, we'll flash for you. We'll do everything you possibly need.
Just have your weapon up.
Yeah, you try. Exactly. I don't want to give him too much to think about at one time. Just you focus on clicking on heads, and we'll handle the rest. But yeah, I mean, it didn't work out. But, you know, it was a nice change of pace, as you say. And now they've gone back to the drawing board, slowing things down once again, looking to try and play for this Ivy position. But you got to worry about Kirby. Going to get flashed on through, opens up, and that's almost a double. Dozier able to answer back as he drops Mr. Shaky Aim. We'll be down into the man advantage in favor of a Gambit, courtesy of a Dren, but quickly replied by Cadian, who
gets dropped by Doja.
Yeah, the trade's
main
just
offer.
going back and forth. This is such a roller coaster of a round. Valda now left to try and rotate away. He's actually going to go ahead and leave the B bomb site, opt to double up with AZ inside of A. And the timing couldn't have been worse for this. He's just missed Mir, who snuck on out.
And Mir's going to get so far forward here before Valda gets into position again. It's purely down to timing at this point if Valda actually expects it, but he's going to trample around. Mir should have this easily. There you go. All down to AZ. 1v3. Bomb's not down yet, but you know that's just a matter of seconds at this point. There we go. AZ has already realized the gravity of the situation. He needs to get the hell out of dodge, and Hobbit seems to be already pretty aware of this. I mean, you know, economy's not the greatest on Gambit's side, but it's going to be that much more painful for North to lose this op. And position already given up. You can see the rest of the members actually just moving closer. Hobbit buying time. Now it's all about getting close enough so you can potentially get a trade here.
Crazy if he manages to hold on into the smoke, trying to Houdini his way out of that situation, but it just doesn't work out. So 6-3. And good start early on as well for Mir, who's had a decent bit of impact down towards that B bomb site. It's a few rounds now we've seen him open up. He's no longer, you know, a shark amongst megalodons in this team. He is, you know, starting to find his footing a bit, at least right now in this match, which is always what you want to see.
Yeah, and a bit of a different go of it from Gambit's side. They do pick up that op that AZ tried to hold on to, and they're getting it to a Dren. Not your typical opper by any means, but he had the spawn for main. Puts it between the goalposts there. Oh, that's a juicy nade onto Cadian and Kirby. Dren's actually going to be able to net a kill as well. Even though it's not his weapon of choice. Knows how to wield it. Now, slowing things down. Again, knowing that they're up against pistols, don't want to fuss things up. No real stack from North either. We've seen in previous ecos, they've decided to group up pretty heavily. The most you can say they've done is towards Pop Dog here with two players, Skate and Valda. Could do some significant damage if Mo is the first one to drop, considering he's on 22 HP. And Kirby's actually going to make a move here. Finds Mo. Not able to get Mir as well. And Hobbit's pretty far forward as well. Might not be expected for anyone rotating around here. Instead, it's going to be Gate popping up. Pop Dog, he's going to find the bomb as well, but not aware that Adren's still hanging out and about in white walls. And there we go, yeah. Rotation comes in from Cadian, but Hobbit already far forward, so he's not going to be able to do anything. But Valde, with that CZ in hand, also picks up an op. He's not going to attempt the retake. Doesn't have a defuse kit, doesn't have armor, so it's understandable. Position given up as well. Hobbit is obviously peered down towards that lower ramp. But there are some positives to draw out of this from North. Again, they do manage to hold on to that op going into the next round. So even if though that would have been a buy, saves quite a bit of money. But Gambit, they really are putting in work here on this T side. 7 rounds this early on. Have to feel pretty good about that.
I mean, this is also scary for North. I mean, you know, being at such a deficit early on here on trade on that CT side, never where you want to be. One thing as well, I mean, North, so far from what we've seen in Pro League, for example, they've looked very, very solid. They've been one of the more promising teams that we've seen play. But not really having the easiest time, it appears, adjusting to things here in a LAN environment. You imagine that's always kind of quite a tough trial by fire for a team that's been gone through an IGL change so recently. Hobbit. Find Valdi as he tries his hand at the aggression. Gade now here as well. I'm not entirely sure they have that read. Spraying on through. Gade now backing away down through the ramp. Doesn't want to risk giving anything else the way of Gambit. They've already sacrificed enough having Valde go down. And usually he is so fantastic at anchoring that B-bomb. So there was something even the desk were giving him credit for, saying how with Valde there, you can always guarantee he's going to get something for you, whether it's just delaying the push or finding the opener. But right now, he's been going down time and time again, or been, alternatively, the guy kind of left in these 1vx scenarios.
And not an easy job to have. They do have a pretty good replacement. Gade was the one to play that enter bomb site when he was in Optic. So not unfamiliar territory either. Still has some utility left as well. But Gambit, throwing nades out into Yard here. Let's see if they actually commit with it. They do still have one player out towards higher. Adren is going to be the point man for now. He's going to be the sole point man, actually, out in Yard to try to create some diversion. And he does so pretty well. Finds 2 frags, actually. Not expecting to win out that duel versus Kirby. And in the rotation goes right into the hands of Hobbit. He's doing a wonderful job of it right now. 3 frags to his name. And, I mean, all the players that we wanted to see more out of, you know, from yesterday's game are really coming to life here. On the side of Gambit. Hobbit and Mir both getting impact frags, you know, at crucial moments in the time, and Adren delivering as always.
Yeah, you know, I mean, then you look towards a name like Mo, who, you know, hasn't really done anything too notable with the AWP yet, but, you know, he definitely has that in the tank. You think back to a lot of these games, and it's always been a bit of a slow start for him, and then he really comes into his own into that second half for the most part.
He needs that CT side, doesn't he?
He certainly does, and, you know, I mean, AWPing on the CT side is
a lot more friendly.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he's going to have an even easier time of things heading into the second half, you would imagine. Now, they've already found Gade. But look at this push in through Ivy.
Bomb as well.
Oh, yeah, they've got that. They've got the bomb. North is going to be sitting on it. Things could go south here. Valde and Kirby looking to try and lock this round in. They're just going to wait, hide themselves away. Now, if you're Gambit, surely you understand that maybe they've gone aggressive, whether that's down Ivy or through B. No, they don't get the read. It's going to be Adren the first to fall. Now an AK. That's a pretty brutal nade. Kirby going to go and attack that. And he's trying so hard, fighting for his life. He has already gone above and beyond by finding 2, but now 6 HP. And also, I don't think he's got any ammo, which is definitely going to make this a lot harder. Kirby, as good as he is, he's going to have to really try here with no ammo left in the tank. He's good with a knife. He's good at the old backstab, so let's see if he can try anything there. No.
Did he have ammo left, or did he just not realize he didn't have ammo left? Surely he must have had it. Okay.
I think he had a bit. I don't know. I
couldn't tell off of the UI.
Because, yeah, on the HUD it said 0, but then he still had it out. So I'm, like, assuming in that scenario, you know, he's not just sat there.
He's like, I'm going to do this, my imaginary
just you
bullets.
wait to, like, pistol whip the hell out of these guys when they round the corner. But, yeah, it's going to be another round getaway. Gambit for North. They take themselves the tactical pause here.
I would actually kind of enjoy if dropping weapons on people would actually do damage. You know, similar to how, like, a flashbang does 1 point of damage, right? Just drop the pistol on someone's head. The more heavy it, you know, the more weight to it. If you drop an AWP on someone, you've
really added in a lot of new dynamics there to the old.
Yeah, please don't listen to that.
That'd be interesting, though, right? Just like a throw function.
For all the suggestions I've thrown at Valve, please don't follow up on that.
Tell you what, it would make the PP Bison more viable if you could just, like, beat someone, you know, like, just throw it at them. It's better than the bullets that it fires anyway, right?
True.
So.
You don't have 64 Bisons to throw at them, though. That is the downside.
Just the same. I mean, it's like a boomerang, though. But here we go. It's going to be wallbang, not quite connecting.
Did he just crouch under it?
I mean, I've seen that wallbang lined up a few times now, and it looks like it's dead on, and then it doesn't connect. So I think maybe like there's like
Simple seems to have it down pat.
Yeah, that's true. But Simple is a pretty unique breed of man without.
Oh, Adren, you're such a beast. Jumps up and down, like gets that crouch jump into the roof, so he doesn't really reveal himself, but just enough to see Gate as he walks close towards that 5 train. That's an opening once again. Is Kirby going to go aggressive here? Doja, he's been patient in Ivy this entire game, and it's been bearing fruits for him as well, but it doesn't seem like Kirby's interested in moving further forward. But I mean, we talked about in the previous game with Optic that Vega was getting opening frags time and time again, and I mean, Vega were not able to capitalize off it. That's not been the case for Gambit. Oh, the timing though. That is unfortunate. As patient as Doja has been, just opts to get out the smoke grenade at the wrong time. Still 2 players on the inner bomb site for North though, so this yard attack from Gambit, which is not going to be telegraphed either, could do a lot of damage. KRB up and above, can find someone with a nade in their hand. Adran though, not to be fooled, at least not yet.
Hazy trying to hold off this side. These rotations coming in from in it. It's Cadian and Valde at range to try and help him out, and he's done a good job of staying alive. Cadian does lose that fight to Mo, but there's only 7 seconds. They do manage to deal with AZ. They have to try and get this bomb down, and Valde in a great spot to deny it. 2 seconds left. I don't think they've got it. They have to try and find the kill, and he's going to get them off the bomb. So North stealing around back from the depths around that they had no business winning either. And it's going to be a 4th on the board for the Danes. And Valde once again holding his own in the clutch. That's something I do think we have to commend this man for. He's always looked just to be so cool in those sorts of clutch situations. Even if you think back to the game yesterday versus
Energy,
NRG, right? There was that 1v3 back of the site standing in the Molotov from him. I mean, I don't even know how you do that, right? Just even when you say the words, you think like, how has he managed that? But he's so good in these clutch situations. Now Gambit, much faster play down in towards his B bomb site. Here's the man in question, but this time he gets completely annihilated by Mir on the entry.
Rotation's not going to be in at time, and that double setup that they've had towards the inner bomb site so many times is not there this time. I mean, sure, Kirby is pushed aggressively towards Ivy pretty rapidly, but bomb's already down. North, oh, they're looking to save. That's not a fun situation to be in, but they realize that getting reset at this point is not going to do any favors at all. So just take the L, hold it proudly, and then move on into the final round of the first half. But Gambit, they hit their mark. 10 rounds versus Mouse Sports. They're going to get the same here versus North.
Still a big fan of this save from the North side. Opting to try for anything there means that they have another shot to finish off a 5-10 half.
And it's good to see from Gambit. I mean, showing solid performances from top to bottom really so far. That's what you want to see more often out of them. I mean, they do have consistency issues. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we talked about the results, off camera yesterday. How so like they're the perfect team to always, end up 3rd to 4th at pretty much any tournament. But
yeah, I think a lot of that comes off the back as well of those consistency issues that you're talking about. Right? They're great at getting out of the group stage because it's like they can just upset anyone. But then when you really need it, when the pressure's on, that's when the cracks start to appear. It feels like, and where every other team can rise to the occasion, Gambit is still, that shaky, inconsistent kind of team.
Yeah, and the problem is that they top out at 3rd, 4th placements, and then they have some absolutely blunders of games, or just tournaments in general. I mean, we see them drop out early at the majors, saw them drop out early in Stockholm. So, yeah, they really need to get things together at a more consistent basis. Obviously, that is key for pretty much every Counter-Strike team, but Gambit seems to be falling victim to it a bit more often than your usual top team. For now, though, all is good in the hood. KRB finds the timing, though, as Hobbit pushes out. Ooh, Adren not able to capitalize. One of the few times we haven't seen him coming out with a frag. Means 3-man advantage as Cadian finds Mir in main. Well, for how good things have been going for Gambit up to this point, it's going to take quite a bit from Doja and Mo to turn this around. 35 seconds left.
They have a very, very small amount of time to play around with here. They're going to start to make their way in toward this B bomb site by the looks of things. You have 2 smokes still up. You can go ahead and throw one down the ramp, but that doesn't deal with the threat up close in the form of Valde. So Doja and Mo need to play off of this together. Gade here as well, and they go walking into Valde. Doja opens, but will they expect Gade? There's only 10 seconds left, and Mo's attention is elsewhere. As Doja taps this bomb down, Gade finds him. Mo answers back for 5 seconds. This round's all said and done, and that will be North finding themselves a 5th at the very end of this first half. So as far as recoveries go, not the most amazing one that we've seen, but they still salvage a recoverable CT side.
Yeah, they do. And considering the fact that, as of late, whenever Gambit have gone to train, they have been better on the T side than the CT side. That's also something, you can try to pump up your boys with if you're Aves standing behind North. So it's, and, not by any means is all hope lost here. I mean, getting a pistol on the board and winning the first buyer, and already you're neck and neck. But Gambit are playing some solid CS up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, namely the man that we keep on referencing going to be Adren. He's got 140 ADR almost right now, 137. But he's having a fantastic time of things. And as you said,
got 7 assists.
Yeah, he's
just priming up everything, so everybody can get involved. Adrian doesn't have to have everything to himself.
Yeah, really feel good kind of sharing around with the kills with the rest of the squad.
I mean, you talked about it. Somebody needs to make room for the other guys to have some fun in the team as well.
Adren's
doing his best job.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Here is the buy coming on in this pistol round. That kind of might give us a hint as to how North are going to opt to play this. You can see that Valde's picked up the smoke and a flash PT50 as well. So they might try and play fast in towards that B-bomb site on the back of it, use the smoke for connector. That certainly doesn't look to be the case right now. They're going to try and go for this A play. No, actually, I think maybe the wrap in through CT. As
he showed the bomb immediately. It's a bit odd.
Yeah, Valdez over here with that smoke and a flash. And actually, that rub boost was lovely because he didn't get spotted at all by Mir, who has been peeking this. They go ahead and smoke off the right side of Ivy. Turn smoke from Gambit, though. That's going to be the perfect counter to this play. Mo drops one, and that's enough to slow this push down almost in its entirety. So,
Mo plus smokes and pistol rounds. Starting to become an iconic duo. Saw it on Dust 2 versus Complexity. Now follows it up with some brilliance here on Train. Can he find more, though? No, not until Mir decides to join in on the fun. That's Valde down. 2-man advantage, and Cadian's already tagged down pretty heavily. And they don't have the favorable range with these Glocks as well. Back and forth we go. Easy is able to find at least one player on the side of Gambit. Follows it up in a second. Can he get a third here? Does a lot of damage, but Mir is able to bail Mo out. Adren still on 100 HP and Cadian 17. 30 seconds to play with, but how is he going to get a bomb plant down here? He probably needs to go looking for at least one of the Gambit players. Opts not to. And that's going to be the end of him as well. Mo flanking around those trains. And Gambit win both pistols. So, when you're in a situation where there's the best of one being played, winning both pistols usually set you up for a victory here. Unless you're Cyberzen, then you lose 16-5.
Oh, well, yeah, you could just go in on them, apparently.
It happens every now and again.
Yeah, it's 11-5 as we see Gambit winning out the pistol. Now a chance for them to go 13-5 up. That's pretty scary, especially as they cancel out that bomb plant right at the very end. Cadian was almost so close to finish punching in those numbers. That could have made all the difference, but not meant to be.
Yeah, and again, the continuing trend of Gambit winning out opening duels seems to be what really makes it for them. Adren's standing at 1-4 in opening duels. Hobbit 2-2. Mir successful in the one attempt he has had. Same thing goes for Doja. And Mo, as we saw, opened up the pistol round. He's 3 for 2 as well. So, it's either, going equal or being in the positive on the side of Gambit. And that's giving you so many opportunities throughout the game. And they've been taking good care of it as well.
Now for North, they've gone for this force buy.
One smoke to their name, 3 flashes. Let's see what they aim to do with this. early presence being made by Gambit here up towards the inner bomb side. Not playing for the range necessarily, as we sometimes see teams do. Doja's actually going to move forward. Is he banking on finding people not paying attention? Well, that's a nice flash at least. This is do some chip damage onto AZ, but decides not to continue forward with it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right call. You know, doesn't know how many players are there, does decide to back away, doesn't want to get caught off by these Deegs, especially, I mean, you look at Adren playing very, very passively back towards the connector. If you lose Doja there, suddenly that B bomb site gets overwhelmed, and that's a free bomb planter potentially around for North. So we keep things even, 5-on-5. Valder still with that smoke, and he's down towards Ivy. Looks like they maybe might try and run that same strat they tried to have a go in the pistol round. Alternatively, actually, with the bomb over in main, I think we just see him smoke off the left-hand side of connector and now use that to try and push on in. And indeed he does, not connector, Ivy, sorry, but creeping on forward, going to be Kirby and Valder. Mir up on top of the green train, having a I was going to say a good time of things, but maybe not as he gets sandwiched in. These Deegs doing damage, and now Mo, the only man left inside of the A-bomb site, going to fall to Cadian as well. So blink of an eye, it's Adren and Doja fighting back in a 2v4. Weapons have been retrieved for North, and this is looking good for them to steal an early round here on their T side. The nade that rains on in. Ooh, we're going to find a lot of damage on Gade. Doja's wrapped into the bomb site, but AZ's there. And it's Adren in a 1v3. As good as he's been, this is asking so much of him. And North going to go ahead and post an early T-side round, locking in a 6th.
Wow, that was the Swiss cheese defense from Gambit right there. They do have 3 players out on the yard area, but it doesn't really seem like it because every one of them gets isolated in positions where they have no business being isolated. Hobbit had plenty of opportunities to swing wide to actually help out Mir from getting sandwiched from both Ivy and main and in between the 5 and 6 train. And I mean, it's just poorly positioned and poorly planned from Gambit's end there. I mean, if you're playing towards that inner bomb side, you have to account for these kind of things, and they definitely didn't. It costs them around, and what should have been them going up to potentially 13 and 5.
Yeah, this now looks like it's going to be a clean round for North, so much needed at that if they want to try and blaze a trail to this comeback. And maybe a bit of a worrying sign of the times as Kirby and Valder starting to come into their own here on this T side, starting to rack up some body counts between them.
Definitely are. Still pretty even spread on the side of North, and what's not so even is the odds right now from loot, but Gambit heavily favored to take this one home, and I mean, you can't really be opposed to that. Are playing on the CT side, they did win the pistol. Obviously then things went a little bit haywire. You do favor their chances, and it's going to be an aggressive push from Cadian out into yard, and seemingly everyone from Gambit is just running away from the situation. They've opted to go aggressively in Ivy. Only Adren here out on the yard area, and the rest of North actually moving towards inner.
Yeah, Cadian will have heard all those footsteps, and you can see he's called that to the rest of the squad. He even leaves the A-bomb site, doesn't want to try farm up this money. Instead, the bomb goes down inside of B. And this could be one of those very, very rare situations where we see all 5 players stay alive. Unless Cadian has anything to say about it, he is the man with that MAC-10. He'd love a bit more bonus money as well to help him fill the AWP.
That is actually something Gambit to take into consideration as well, the fact that you don't want to feed Cadian, as we see Mo do, with too much money here. He is going to be the AWPer for North as well going into these buy rounds. So if he can get out of these eco rounds with, you know, flush of cash sitting over 10K potentially, well, it's going to be tough for you to break down. It seems like they've come up with the same ideas as well. So the remaining 4 Gambit players staying rather gathered up. And well, they'll take their starting pistols with them into the next buy round.
Now that AWP bought in early on for North, going to get thrown across onto Cadian over on the side of Gambit. You can see Mo's donning his as well. And this is a duel that I've been excited about seeing, and we didn't really get to see too much of it in that first half. We always talk about Mo kind of taking a while to get into the swing of things. He sits top of the board now for Gambit, so that's certainly looks true, though he doesn't sit top of the board. He's working his way there. That was just a scoreboard bug. Didn't think so, didn't sound right. But here's Mo to open things up, and trade straight away going to come in from Kirby. So Things kept all even right now. Of course, it's going to benefit North nicely as they set on up to hit this A bomb site. Leaves a lot of pressure on the 3 remaining players that do reside here. They're very willing to sacrifice that B defense, only leaving Doja over towards Connector, playing the retake set up inside of B. But Mo homing in the sights onto AZ. This is going to be such a tricky push for AZ to try and land. There's no one to line up a flash for him. He can self-flash himself out, or maybe go for the smoke. It's not the most ideal position to push from, though.
Really being slow about it. Put down quite a bit of smokes down towards Ivy. Haven't moved on it. Instead, they're going to group up with 3 players there. Adren, if you can find one, does give an opportunity as well for Mir to do something, but they're actually going to rotate away. The second North make their move. And now, instead of Adren finding one, it's going to be Valda to get a clean opening towards Ivy here. A lot of it is going to fall onto Mir. Position given away. Great flashes coming in from North as well. And seemingly can't be stopped at this point. That's until Mo shows up, finds Kirby and backlines. Probably not expecting a second player here. That's Valda once again. You talked about him heating up here in the last couple of rounds. He's definitely making his mark on this right now, climbing on top of the scoreboard. Oh, Doja. As much as you would like to clutch this out, probably only logical solution here is to bail out and hold on to your weapon.
North slowly but surely building their way back into this game. It was a 5-10 half. Gambit even winning the pistol round in that second half. Now the scoreline, with just 2 rounds between these teams and no money for Gambit into the next, going to give North a great chance of closing this gap even further. I mean, since moving on to this T side, North are doing a fantastic job of finding these openers, finding the avenues into these bomb sites. And another issue is, you know, Mir definitely going a lot more quiet here in this second half. We saw him just moments ago. Looking to be, gets caught out a little bit there, right? There's a lot of angles to keep an eye on. He loses Adren down at Ivy, and from that moment onwards, you kind of really feel the pressure. He doesn't know if main's clear. There's no one keeping an eye on it, so he is kind of pints it in down towards Old Hell, and that is certainly not where you want to find yourself with North amassing down towards Ivy. Now it's just the eco, and this is a great shot for North to go 10-11.
That's even without letting a pistol here. Doing a great job of it. AZ trying to see if it can get cheeky with a wall bang. Doesn't connect on Doja. That would be obviously a pretty big get for them, seeing how he's the only one with any weaponry going into this. Gambit have set all of their 5 players out into yard, though, so you have to be careful. That's a great start to it. Gade finding Adren, and somebody's trying to pick up a weapon here. It's not going to pan out. Well, actually, I say that. Hobbit. Whoop. Okay, Hobbit finds 3 with his EZ. Doesn't even take damage. Doja's going to go down to AZ as he tries to move out of Pop Dog, but bombs down at the feet of Hobbit. He's got armor as well. This is doable.
He's on for the ace if he wants to pick this up, and he could be the savior for Gambit, seemingly from nowhere. He does have a lot of angles to be very aware of, though. Kirby and AZ not going to opt to group on up. Instead, AZ pushing in through that B bomb site while Kirby wraps around into the Ivy position. Bomb is still down and at the feet of Hobbit, though, so he can't afford just to sit and wait. North have to come to him, and he knows it. AZ waiting for Kirby to get in a position, going to take up an angle up in heaven here. Might get caught on the ladder, and Hobbit does spot him out. AZ gonna fall, and now on for the ace is Hobbit. 1v1. He's gonna try and do the impossible. It's Kirby, the last man alive. Hobbit spots him out, spots the head, but Kirby digs deep, and at the last hurdle is able to overcome Hobbit. That will be him. Baggins the round for North, 10-11. And now a pause called on in.
That was quite the job being put down by Hobbit right there. Just doing everything in his power to win out a round for Gambit. Definitely a round that they shouldn't have much business of actually winning at all. But yeah, just not enough. Kirby being able to not only hold his head cool, but his aim steady. It's a kind of a tricky position to work around with as well, with all the bits and bobs sticking out from the bomb train. Also, like, very all-in-ish as well, faking the bomb plant initially to then go out for it. Because there's no way he's actually going to have time to get back on the bomb after that point. Let me see, just mows them down in quick succession. They do luckily line up for him there. Not a ton of emotion after after a 3K like that, but, you know, he has one goal in mind, and that's to win out the round. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen.
Have some Finnish blood in him with those sorts of reactions, just stone-faced as ever. Well, 10-11 is the score right now. North, it comes a lot closer than perhaps they would have liked, but a round is a round nonetheless.
Hobbit?
Oh, they're going to go ahead and dismantle that boost, and doesn't lead to anything for them, apart from a bit of damage done onto Gade.
Let's see, though. I mean, it is important to keep in mind that was an eco on the side of Gambit, taking on a lot of members, and even though we have seen a bit of a streak from North here, I think it's 5 in a row now, it will actually make a bit of an impact on their money if Gambit were to win this. Up on Mo, haven't seen too much action here on the CT side. Would be an excellent time for him to get into the fray. Hobbit moving forward. You can hear the movement around the ladders of Blue Train, but decides not to peek further in. Dren's going to do that job for him. They're getting really forward positionings here. This might not be something North necessarily expects, as we see 2 of the players setting up for yard smokes. Depending on how many players North decide to drop down here, it could be tough for Dren. And 1 seems to be enough. Gade surviving on 1 HP. North actually, yeah, they're deciding to turn tail here. They're not committing to pop just yet. Sending a fake towards Inner. That's going to draw 2 Gambit players. Here comes the actual push towards Yard. Very spread out defense on the side of Gambit. Hobbit only good for 1. Mir not good for anyone at all. It leaves a lot on Doja and Mo, and Doja's going to look the wrong way at the wrong time. Mo haven't been able to get into the groove of things with this op too much up to this point. It seems to be the continuous trend as well. He's just forced to save this, and North are finally going to equalize. They're going to be back at even numbers with Gambit. It's been a while. Actually, it's the first time since we started the match.
Yeah, this is the first time actually North have moved into the lead. So, well, not the lead, rather, but all even, yeah. And potentially going to move into the lead then, as Gambit have no money in this next round. That is a pretty bitter pill to swallow. They spot out Mo as well. That's going to ring the dinner bell. You can see AZ's knocking on the door of Gambit. They do manage to hold the AWP at least, and you can see how these guys kind of tally up against one another right now. Very even scoreboard right there.
Very even indeed. And I mean, we talked highly about how Adren was doing leading into that first, or, you know, going from that first half. In the second half, he hasn't really been able to connect with anything at all. Gotten 1 assist to his name, but that's it. Still rocking an over 180 yard, but again, we've talked about it so many times. You can't have your star players just show up for 1 half and expect to win still. It needs to be a full effort. This is a force buy as well from Gambit, so they're hinging a lot on this buy. Not going to have the utility they want. It's going to be tough to retake as well. Only 2 defuse kits to their name. But they have opted for a 3-man setup towards Inner here in North. Unbeknownst to them, might be walking into a bit of a hellhole.
Well, here's Mo and Doja. They're going to send North out of this B bomb site with their tail between their legs, and back towards A they go. North roaring into action as they charge on in, and here is Hobbit able to drop AZ. That bomb going to go down as Gade punches in the numbers, does get it down, and finds the man inside of this bomb site, so he makes it possible for North, and Here now going to emerge from the woodwork, but he does manage to get that trade, and Valder left in a 1v4. We often say this man is so cool in the clutch, but this would be one for the history books. It's not going to happen as a Dren drops him from the server. And Gambit, they're able to go ahead and break a 6-round streak from North, finally coming in with a 12th of their own. And the issue is when you win 6 rounds in a row, you're going to have plenty of money to fall back on.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be an issue for North. And yeah, they've kind of overtaken Gambit here. That streak has definitely gone to note over at Lootbed. 161 odds on a North victory as of right now, but I wouldn't count Gambit out by any means. They've been able to get 2 offs to their name as well. We saw Dren using it previously, might be holding on to that as well going further. It is a bit of a different look for a T-side team having to deal with 2 ops instead of just the 1, especially with how little we've seen Mo getting involved to start things off, at least on the CT side. It remains to be seen what Gambit opts to do here. I obviously want to avoid that entire debacle of getting reset right after winning a round. That would be a golden opportunity for North to solidify a bit of a lead and get that much closer to a win. I decided to talk things over here. There we go, fully bought up on the side of North. And a much healthier buy for Gambit. Japan is going to keep that off into the next round.
Boost once again going to come on in from Cady and his eagle eye over the top of this smoke. Yet to spot anything, but we know that Hobbit's been playing over here towards Old time and time again. Only this time Cadian does spot him, and this time Cadian isn't so forgiving. It is going to be him falling. Ooh, Doja. That's his cue to back away from the ramp for the time being. You can see the pressure this has added as well. Mo starting this rotation round, starting to hold this from the connector, but that leaves just a Dren and a Mir inside of this A-bomb site. And you can see with these positions, my biggest worry is Mir alone over here towards Ivy, going to go toe-to-toe with Valde potentially. If this push heads on in, does come this way. Not going to have anyone nearby to trade or help him out. Looks like it's going to be B right now, at least with that tag. Now they've changed their mind, back towards A they go. And this is it, Mir. Over here, he's going to be the first to fall, and as we say, no trade there. A Dren over in connector is good for 1, but that's it. The bomb goes down for North, and Cadian extends that man advantage even further. AZ even going to best Doja as he gets taken by surprise, and 7 HP, he's going to go ahead and eliminate everyone. So 12-12, and you mentioned about that reset. Sadly, Gambit going to face the full crushing force of that.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario if you're Gambit right now. Only Dren really with enough money to spend. I guess getting that win back, as they did with the force ban and being able to hold on that many players alive, they would only have to go for 1 eco, but that's definitely not what you want in this kind of scenario. And North, they're eyeing their first potential lead here in this game. Trailing the entire time, and now only going up against pistols. Dren is going to get aggressive, though. He's got a whole bunch of teammates behind him as well. And on we go, AZ. Not ready for that, that's for sure. Away we go, dropping down like raindrops into Pop Dog. Kirby's going to be well aware of that. Hobbit desperately wants that AK. Make sure there's no more pesky Gambit players around. No weapon to be found as well, so job well done. Wald is posted up in main, looking for an aggressor on Gambit side. That's going to be Mir. He's already given away his position. Walder's not paying attention, though. He's going to net him a kill as well. He, as well, wants his hand on an AK. Katie misses the shot, so AK in hands for Mir. Might be looking to do some damage. And then he realizes that's not a possibility. He's going to fly out. Kirby actually takes him out before he gets that far. Promising amount of damage here being done by Gambit. Mo finding 2 frags at the very tail end. He's also going to be able to pick up an op. That's a lot of money saved. And, I mean, it's not like North are impervious to actually taking economic damage either by any stretch of the imagination. So, as well as they did for themselves by resetting Gambit, giving them a bit of a gift package here. But finally, though, North in the lead. Took them 25 rounds to get there, but they did it in the end. Hayden as well, as saw Dren and Mo try to. Lines up the wall bank, doesn't actually succeed. Gambit now needs to win at least 2 rounds in a row to get North off of these weapons. That could prove to be difficult.
I haven't seen too much from this double AWP to big it up to me just yet, although I'm hoping that Adren and Mo can prove me wrong. Mo over here towards Sandwich, keeping an eye on main. Now, Kirby's already crossed on out. The rest of the guys going to be back towards T-spawn, lining up these smokes and flashes in towards A. Looking like this could build into an eventual A play. Back towards Ivy, we see them go.
I mean, Mir hasn't found a lot of success when he's been on his own in this area. That might be what North are considering as well. And, well, they're not exactly giving him a whole lot of opportunity to succeed here. Look at this. 3 players towards the inner bomb side. Well, we're going to have Hobbit rotate around. That might be the saving grace as of right now. But Gambit definitely need to win out their duels.
Is fully flashed, still able to get him fine. One, almost a second through that smoke, and he's still alive. Hobbit's there to help out. They've done damage. The bomb's been dropped out in the open. There's only 10 seconds. It's going to have to go down within the next 3 seconds for North, or else this round is impossible, and Cadian's on it. They managed to get the bomb planted in the nick of time, and now Kirby and Cadian fighting back. The Danes have risen, and it all falls on a Kirby. Doja's keeping his eye on him, and Kirby rounding the corner, puts it into the 1v1. This might be possible now. Kirby has to pick up his 4th kill versus Adren, the heavyweight over on Gambit. He's wrapped around, it's looking good. Adren's got no idea. That bomb timer ticking lower and lower, but Adren's gonna find the shot. The defuse is there, there's more than enough time, and Gambit gonna be finding themselves a 13th. They dig deep in spite of the best efforts of Kirby. It's just not enough.
That was such a close round. I mean, it looks completely lost for them, and then Kirby finds a double kill within the span of half a second while Cadian follows up with one of his own. And the fact that Kirby wins out the duel versus Doja as well. Doja has everything going for him. Shadow, a slow peek into him. He's got, you know, posted up angle. That could have really gone the wrong way. I mean, Kirby's just, you know, mere seconds away from getting the drop onto Adren as well. Just the HP discrepancy that really does him in. 13th round for Gambit, and a quick move towards the inner bomb side. That's Cadian seeing if he can get Doja on the corner there. They're shoulder peeking. It's not going to amount to anything, though. Instead, it's actually going to be Cadian to take a significant amount of damage. And again, 3 players from Gambit towards this inner bomb side. They're really scared about a potential inner execute from North.
Yeah, they seem very worried about this idea. This time, though, they're going to try and clear it, but easy. Deleting Adren. For Gambit, now this cannot be another situation where they find that one solitary round and then immediately get reset, because that has been a constant means of handing a few rounds the way of North. Right now, the ball is very much in the court of the Danes, and you can see they're selling this fake in towards B perfectly. The smokes, the flashes all raiding in. They've pulled 3 rotations away from A. The only man still here is Mir, and it's such a tall order to ask him to hold this bomb site. He's already backed all the way off down toward Ivy. That smoke nullifies him that much further, and he even misses the timing on Balder, who goes walking through. So it really is a pretty down-and-out round for Gambit. They're going to back away and have to save, and that's all they can do at this point in time. But you bet that North are going to go hunting in this sort of situation.
Yeah, and I mean, North have done such a good job of putting pressure on that inner bomb side without ever really committing to it, that Gambit are constantly doing over-rotations. I mean, Gambit, obviously, Adren going down early on, it puts a bit of added pressure to them, but that is really cool to see, because we've seen way more fakes towards that inner bomb side than what we've seen actual executions from North. And it keeps working. They keep getting onto a Yarda setup that is pretty much consisting of Mir way back, because he's not being doing anything at all except kind of just hanging around towards either backline or Ivy, and maybe either Hobbit or Adren standing around connector, but they're so far apart from each other. They have no way of actually helping each other or trading for each other.
Yeah, and that links back to, you know, when we were kind of speaking about, you know, like actually slotting in a new player such as Mir. It feels like he does, you know, kind of get a little bit shafted in that sense. You know, he's holding Ivy solo. You think about a lot of setups on this map. Usually they revolve around having a man down towards Old Hell or inside of that bomb site up on Green Train to have that crossfire set up. And there just hasn't been one. And that means in a lot of these situations, Mir's the only man holding onto that A bomb site. You even see whenever they leave, there's been a few rounds where they've left him and Adren there, but Adren plays in connector. So you know, Mir is kind of left completely to his own devices in that portion of the map.
Yeah, unfortunately, he isn't device, so he's not winning on a lot of these duels either. And that's a bit of an issue. I would have liked to see more activity in the IV area, just in general from Gambit. We saw, you know, at times North playing somewhat aggressively. Kirby kind of just got tired of hanging around in that area. They had, you know, pop flashes for him. He would go aggressive, just to create some sort of a stir for the T side. That's never been the case. Mir hasn't moved any further in to the IV area than about 2 feet. So it can always feel like a pretty safe area for North to venture around from. And, well, with the saved weapons, Adren is the one man who's left into the dark, really. Has to go for a mag 7. Not a bad position to have it in, obviously. Can deal with people dropping down pretty handedly if he nets his shots. North once again playing this pretty slowly.
And just that mag 7 on Adren, I mean, I'm hoping he can get some magic done with it. I think over towards Pop, we more than often see it pan out. But yeah, it does seem like the Gambit is so paranoid about this inner take, even though I think North have literally ran this outside
99% of the time.
Yeah.
I think they've gone inner once.
So Gambit, you know, clearly it's one of those things about, you know, North, if you just run going A every single round, you think, okay, at some point they're going to go B.
And that's
but, now it comes in, and this is the one round where it's only Doja here. Now they're going to open up onto Adren down and pop that mag 7. Doesn't get anything done.
And they're even falling further back. They can't afford to do this. That's going to be a juicy nade.
Ooh, Doja, the X-God, trying to hold this off. There's Mo chiming in with another. They're looking to try and take this to 14-14 and tie it all up. And Doja looks to be the man to take them there. He does manage a second, but actually, just as we said, Kirby and Cadian, they've answered back with 2 of their own. The bomb going to go down just in the nick of time, and Hobbit on this wrap round from behind. This all falls to him now. Oh, he's already head in his hands, and the round isn't even over yet. He's back to back with Cadian. Cadian's got no idea. He must have heard it. Surely he knows that there's a man up in halls right now. Doesn't look down beneath him, which is where Kirby lies. He's so close to discovering both of these players, and the timing, he hops on down, but Kirby gonna be there, gonna be holding his own, and that'll be match point in favor of North. 15-13. And absolutely fantastic stuff we've seen from the man that we could see second in. It's going to be Kirby. 24 kills to his name right now. 25, actually. So he's having an absolutely banger of a game. And then you look over at Gambit. It was Adren early on, but now it's Hobbit top of the charts. Adren's
only the most damage, but
yeah, Adren's found 4 kills this second half, which is a pretty brutal statistic if you are Gambit. Your key player going quiet at such a pivotal time. And now they look to try and just snuff out the Gambit side with a fast play in towards A, barreling them down. It will be just Doja and Mo left up. North looking to try and finish off this wounded Gambit. Mo now finds himself 1v4. It is just not happening. What a turnaround that was. A 10-5 half turn, 16-13 finish in favor of North. They're going to be happy with that one as the boys hold their own here on trade.
Yeah, really got to give a lot of credit to the North side, you know, particularly Cadian for how he controlled that T side. I mean, we saw it time and time again. Gambit got so into their own mind about what was potentially going to happen towards that D-bomb site. And the first second they let go of it, that's when they get punished so hard. Even though Doja does a remarkable job of being able to find a multi-kill, Mo chimes in as well. It's just not enough to you know, just get them over the line. North just outplayed them completely on that T side.
Yeah, you know, for Gambit, so you got to feel a little bit bad, a little bit kind of, you know, the feels going their way. It was looking like such a convincing first half.
we talked about it, right? Like Gambit is this team that constantly, you know, they have the skill, they just lack the consistency, and then we start to see, you know, build up such a solid T side, even win the second half pistol, and you think to yourself like, this is the Gambit we've been looking for. And then they somehow find a way to kind of leave you disappointed as the game ends.
Yeah, and now, you know, for them, they're going to move down in that 1-2 group. That's a pretty terrifying spot to find yourself in, right? Just one map away potentially from being eliminated here. at StarSeries. And, you know, for North, they're going to move up 2-1. They're probably feeling quite good, given that this is their kind of, you know, first event with this roster in its current form. And they laying down the pain right now with KD, and it feels like.
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, really cool to see Kirby. You highlighted him earlier, having a really standout game. We've been talking so much about Valda and what he does for that team because he's the most consistent out of all the players. It's really nice to have more of the guys on the North side really chiming in and just having impactful frags throughout the game.
Well, that's all from us here at the Caster's Desk. We're going to give this one over for a quick interview.
I'm with an ecstatic Cadian. I've never seen a CS player go so red, and I have to say I felt so guilty just now because I had to drag him away from his team. You had such a difficult CT side, but that T side was absolutely phenomenal. Cadian, talk to me how you and the boys managed to get it together when it mattered most.
I'm pretty speechless right now, I have to admit. That was a rough CT. They won both pistols in a best of one, and Adren was feeling it. He was just running out T-Con and just owning us. So it looked very dark at times, but I'm so happy that we kept composed. We helped each other. We had a good spirit in the halftime. We were still laughing, still bringing each other up, and that's exactly what a good team needs to be. So I'm so proud of us. That was really good. We needed this win so badly.
And as IGL, you're hugely responsible for that. What do you think that you have brought to the team, as you've only been part of this roster for about 2 weeks, Cadian?
I mean, I'll take some of the credit, but I have to say the boys was amazing as well. They brought so much input during the rounds. We consistently had good information of where the CTs would be, and they just kept supporting me, giving me ideas. It was amazing. So yeah, I mean, I'll take some of the credit, but the boys take some as well.
I mean, we've got to give props to Kirby, haven't we? Because my word, that man is a frag machine.
Yeah, I think it was good for him. He's had not the best of games in the first 2 ones, and he's an amazing player. He showed it time and time again. So I'm so happy for him that he brought his normal level today.
You're so close to the top 8, Cadian, but you've got one more match to win tomorrow. What's the plan tonight to get your heads into that game?
I think we're going to watch the game together. We did it last night, after we lost to NRG. We watched the game, listened to the team speak as well. We were discussing what kind of things we can improve. So I think even though we won today, it's important to keep our heads down, keep our focus up, and make sure that we'll improve and be even more prepared for tomorrow. So prepare, and we'll hope to do a good showing tomorrow.
Well, you showed us the North is here. Congratulations to you and your team, Cadian. We'll see you playing here tomorrow. That is all we've got in terms of matches and therefore interviews today. But we still got to break that incredibly exciting game down. So let's head back to the desk.
North's roars were far too loud and Gambit crumbled towards the end. The first thing I want to talk about, guys, is just how many 2v4, 2v3, 2v5 situations that North were able to pull off. It was just insane.
Yeah, I think Cadian actually deserves a lot of credit. I really liked how they attacked the outside bomb site in so many different ways at the early part of that game. The second round of that second half was the most pivotal round, obviously. It swung everything in North's favor. And then the later stages of that second half, they started attacking the inner bomb site. You can tell Doja wasn't ready for that last hit on the inner site. Adren, like Cadian said, actually had an amazing first half. It seemed like he was going out T-Con, getting a lot of kills. He had 15 kills at the end of the first half, ended with 18. So he was dead silent in that second half. And I think losing a player like that for Gambit was obviously super impactful.
Yeah, I don't know how they were able to get away with so many late round scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Like when the clock is ticking down sub 15 seconds and they're busting out and then it's looks like it's a 2-on-4, the bomb goes down, then the next thing you see 3 kills come up and now they're in the 2-on-1 in their favor. It's just crazy. In those situations, if the players from Gambit just sat back and allowed the post plant to happen and didn't try to deny the plant in those last few seconds, they win those scenarios every day of the week, right? You just play the 2v4, you just let the bomb go down, you isolate each player, you always can trade out in that number advantage and you win. It's just, I think the flurried situation got the better of a team who had the number advantage, which is crazy, right? Like you don't usually see those scenarios go down like that. And maybe they weren't ready to be flustered in that regard. It just feels crazy that there was round after round that was that late. It was weird.
Yeah, well, North hit the T side and they got 6 rounds in a row before Gambit even kind of woke up to it. But it was multiple rounds where you see it even goes down to 1v1. Hobbit nearly had that ace in there and he just gets outplayed by a player like Kirby who was on fire this game.
Yeah, Kirby had an outstanding game. And Yeah, I mean, Gambit looked like they had everything they needed to succeed 16 rounds in. They won both pistols. Adren was playing really well. Throughout the match, they won the opening duel battle. North only won 13 opening duels versus Gambit 16. So I don't really know what to say from Gambit. They just kind of fell apart in those weird, like mid-round scenarios. KRB shined in those areas, in my opinion. He had so many huge kills with the AK and obviously rushing hell with the MP5 towards the end there.
You're going to find yourself, if you're Gambit here, rewatching the game, or I don't know if I could rewatch the game, because like Sean said, it was the perfect storm for them to take the game. Both pistols, the clutch situations weren't in their favor. It was 2-1, I believe. But regardless of that, it was just like, Train is a map you win both pistols. You're off to a flyer. I want to maybe make a little bit more of a note about that whole MP5 situation. Kyopi's used this quite a lot in the recent games I've watched of him. I've had the pleasure of watching North during the EPL, ESL Pro League, and he was even using it there on like B rushes, on overpass. The gun's not better than an MP7. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. But I guess if you're getting the kills and it's working, why the hell not?
Mentality. Yeah. It's just in his head. He's like, I love this gun. I'm going to be confident with it.
Exactly.
Let's go.
You can't question something that works, I suppose.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
The sound shot.
It is. It does make a good
Whispering
sound.
sweet nothings into your ears.
Someone was saying it sounds wet. I think it sounds wet.
I don't like that.
No, it's a bad word for it.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
had people come up with words, though, for the whole chopper situation.
Oh, where are we at?
Yeah, I think the one that I liked was impotent.
Yeah, okay, so the impotent map.
That
I
was
do like schmap.
Yeah, someone said schmap because it's a Shiza map for them. I think, why do I feel like I can say Shiza, but I can't say...
It's the same word, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Just because you're
I'm just
on an English
offending all the
broadcast.
German
Yeah,
mothers
exactly.
out there. But yeah, all in all, this game, I don't know. It's hard to pick a turning point because of how close it was and how down to the wire it was. It just has to be those mid-rounds, right? Like, that's all you can look towards here.
What's even worse, I'd love to go back and watch it myself and just look at how many times that actually, even going into it, we were sat here, right, and you were like, oh, Hobbit's going to get this because there were two players on basically one shotable, and they never went in their favour.
That was
it was
incredible.
right by the wire the last few seconds, and everything was going in North's favour.
I'm curious, like, with the whole Gambit narrative, right? Because of Hobbit going to the bench, seemingly out of choice, if they still make it to the top 8, does he stay for the next tournament? Like, how long does this go?
Yeah.
Because if there was an offer for another team, it probably would have come to fruition by now.
Well, I was wondering, maybe are they just looking for who they think is going to fill the next spot? I know you guys on Desk before, I don't know if you were in on it, Sponge, but it was when we were suggesting that maybe Blade just goes in and plays instead again, for example. But it's maybe that Gambit don't have a fifth to fill it.
Well, I think it's... Like, I think if Hobbit said, I want to stay, they would let him stay.
Absolutely. I think he determines his own fate here.
Yeah.
I don't know what his play is, if he has something lined up. It doesn't seem like he does because he keeps playing these events. And yeah, what's the barometer for success that makes him want to stay? Is it top 8?
Yeah, well, you'd have to go deeper, I suppose. I
Yeah.
think you'd want semi-final at least.
I would imagine semifinals too.
Well, Hobbit definitely doesn't have anything lined up at the moment because he's even just continuing to say, like, oh, yeah, I'm still available. Like, he's using every opportunity to be like, hi, guys, I'm here. Come pick me up. I'm a free agent. And he says he's happy to play in NA, Europe, wherever he wants to go. He's just
He wants to get out of there.
Yeah, which is maybe he just feels like he can shine a little bit further on another team. But
Yeah, well, we all felt that way at one point in our careers, but look at us now.
I was from the UK. That never happened. That never happened.
You guys won. You won the CGS, Birmingham Salvo.
Yeah, in a terrible game that should never be even thought about as Counter-Strike.
He hates Source. I'm not a big fan of it, but you know, I can still.
Thank you, Sean.
I can still thank it for what it did for me.
Yes, okay, it helped you, but the game ruined my entire scene. Don't let me get tilted on this, Chad.
Well, what we can talk about, James,
is where we're at with the standings.
Yeah. Well, this is where it gets exciting.
Yes. Okay, so these are where we're at game-wise today. ENCE is a big story going through.
Yep.
NRG are going to be very happy with that, considering they even had that crazy overtime game against Vega.
Yeah, it's kind of cool having these two teams. NRG, their coming out was actually the last Starladder, right, where they made it all the way to the grand final. Now, ENCE, they went through with a big win over Mouse Sports, who are going to be very disgruntled about that one, I suppose. I'm glad that Imperial got to take on CyberZen. I think that was good because, no disrespect to CyberZen, but I would hate it if it was a matchup where we had, say, CyberZen versus, I don't know, Fragsters. I know that wasn't how that was going to go down, but, you know, I'm glad that it was such a disparity, such a drubbing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 2-1s right now, and I see like 3 sleeping giants in this tournament: Mouse Sports, Imperial, and North.
Yep.
So that's very dangerous for those teams right there in the 2-1 matchup, because I highly doubt that all 3 of those teams aren't going to get matched up against each other. Could happen.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I'm really excited about the 2-1 matchups.
Optic as well. Okay, they were looking a bit better from what we saw from today. Hellraisers, that's literally sat in hell at the moment because no one would have expected this.
No, I think backs against the wall as well, though, is where they'll start to shine and maybe show us what they were capable of at the major. I think to go from the highest of highs to make it to the top 8 at a major and then come into an event like this against teams who you would consider yourself a favorite against day in, day out, and to drop those games, it's a wake-up call. You know, it's like getting water thrown on you while you're on an airplane on a long-haul flight and you're 3 hours into sleeping, and for some reason the guy decides on, I think it was United Airlines, to throw water all over you, James.
Oh, yeah.
that was
that
fun.
was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a tool bag.
What'd you do about that?
I just...
He somehow stayed calm.
I don't know. I was in like a state of zen or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Sleep deprived.
I think Hellraisers can actually come back and reverse sweep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
That's an interesting call considering who's in that 2-1.
Yeah,
that
that's
one,
my issue. Is it's so stacked. When
Well,
you
let's
look
see the
at it.
matchups. Maybe I'll wait and see the matchups before I
Okay,
get
we'll
stuck
wait.
in.
We'll wait and see how it goes down. But also the thing of complexity going
Complexity
out, right?
being 0-3 was a bit of a shocker.
Nah,
Really?
Nah.
Really? Why?
because like I don't. There's no disrespect to them within the time frame of the major and that event. I don't think anybody like. I'm not saying I don't think anybody looked at them properly because teams would have had to, especially in that second stage. But I think if you run that tournament 10 times, they only get out once.
I mean, they did beat Big, though, twice there.
Yeah.
Challenger and Legend stage.
Well, they lost today, though, didn't they?
They lost to Renegades, too, at this event, which I thought I would have edged them in that.
I had them in...
head-to-head.
I picked them over Renegades in that game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Very
I think
poor showing by them.
they know it's a poor showing, though. You can see from the social media of the players that they know, and they want to go back to the drawing board. North American Counter-Strike is in a really weird spot at the moment. Like, you have Liquid, you obviously have MIBR, and then we have NRG, and then that's it, right? Everybody else, I think, is
very weak right now, it seems like.
Yeah, especially considering I don't think they know what their direction is. Like, Skadoodle's been on the fence of quitting this game since you were playing.
He's no longer opping.
Yeah, that's weird as well.
Yeah.
So Tim,
Makes
their
no
best
sense.
rifler, is now... It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's an awkward state of affairs for
Yeah.
that team in general. We are just a few minutes from getting this out, and we finding out which games match up. So we got some time to chill.
Well, who can't play who? Can we work that out? We could probably... No, I don't want to. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I always do that.
About to say that would be like real cutting it out, and okay, we got our
Wait,
standings.
this
back
is
up
the
either way.
standings again, but look, I missed day one, guys, because I had to go home. So do you guys remember who played who on day one? I was watching some of the games. I know that Renegades played Cyberzen, but they can't play each other. Frags has played Gambit. They're not able to play each other here. Have Optic played any of those names yet? I'm just floundering.
I'm just gonna find out for you, mate. Don't worry.
I could just talk about. I could talk about anything else. I could talk about.
Okay, you want the opening games of day one, mate? Yeah.
Well, yeah, just so we can work out who can't play who.
So Cyberzen 16-3 Renegades, that was a crazy one. Ents 16-6 Tyloo, Imperial 16-11 Hellraisers.
This is today's result, so this will work. This is good.
North 16-7 Optic, Fragsters 19-6.
Wait,
Big.
this is yesterday's results. They put them on the screen. This is production
they're
absolutely
on point.
nailing it.
Hey.
Okay, so it looks like we're okay. North can't play Optic. That's one thing to consider for the 2-1 matchups. Oh wait, Optic's in a 1-2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're safe with all the matchups.
I think so everyone can play everyone, which is cool. There's no dramas there because
No, Optic's 2-1.
Is Optic 2-1? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they won against Big and they won.
They won today.
So North can't play Optic.
Okay.
That's actually fine. I'm down with not seeing that one.
That's
yeah,
not
that makes
too bad.
sense.
So that means that one of those two teams could play Mouse Sports.
That'd be rough.
Yeah,
So
that
we
would be
have
rough.
Fragsters, Optic, and North
Imperial.
all sitting at 2-1, right?
Yeah.
Three Danish
Three
teams.
Danish teams. God, if all three of them get through, we'll never hear the end of it from Anders. We need to avoid that at all. No, I like the Fragsters guys. I think here, like, this is a good coming out party for a lot of teams. I think Imperial, especially with how well they've done at the DreamHack Opens, if they can continue that here, if they can make it to playoffs, I consider that a victory for them. Here's the thing. When you look at the teams right now in that 1 and 2 column,
Who do you want to avoid? If you're any of the teams,
well, you all want
Hellraisers.
Cyberzen. Everybody wants to gobble up Cyberzen.
And you want to
yeah?
avoid Hellraisers because this is where they can really start to go, okay, look, we're going to wake up.
I think Gambit has actually looked decent.
Yep.
I
I'd like Vega. I wouldn't mind Vega. If I was big, I wouldn't mind playing Vega.
Yeah.
Unless, well, that's a double-edged sword, really, because the structure can negate Vega's sporadicness, but also if you get forced to play the Force by game by Vega, then they will win. So
I do feel like Big can abuse Tyloo's map pool.
yes.
Yep, easily. But the
Definitely
big question
open that
is, with no pun intended, can they make it out, do you reckon? Do you reckon it's possible still for Big to get to playoffs based on how they performed here?
If Big gets Cyberzen or Tyloo, I can see them easily going the 2-2.
Yeah.
And then there's a high, like if you go a 2-2, and then you could get Fragsters, you could get Renegades.
They wouldn't want that Fragsters rematch, surely.
I would love
That
me
would
a
have
big
to avoid
Gambit
anyway,
matchup.
yeah.
I want a big Gambit matchup.
You think like the
Ooh,
coach,
that'd
what?
be
Like
interesting.
Gobby and the Blade, the brains.
Yeah.
The mindset's
Oh,
coming
that's the
into
other
it.
movie you referenced, Starship Troopers. I was talking about the brain bugs.
That is a really good movie.
A lot of people haven't seen it.
Yeah. I actually
Okay,
totally
we're
agreed
older.
with your comment about that movie about the nudity.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
I
That
don't
was
know
a
when-
banger when I was a
Yeah,
child.
man. The shower scene was all up and about it, and that was on like I think it was played. It would have been on normal TV. I was thinking we
Yeah.
have. You probably have SBS in the UK, right?
No. We're close to you, but not that close.
Yeah, I figured we might share some channels. You guys watch Home and Away and Neighbours, though.
Yeah, we do have that. Home and Away was brilliant.
These are
None
like
of those are ringing a bell.
no, they're like
Yes.
they're like soap operas, right?
Wait a sec.
Why
No
you
one
watching
in
that as a
Australia.
kid, though?
No, I'm not. I wasn't watching it. I'm just
Okay.
saying in the UK they watch a bit of it.
If you had a
Summer
mum or
Bay.
sister, they'd watch all of that stuff.
Summer Bay and Ramsey Street.
Did you get so we got yours. Did you get our like EastEnders and Coronation Streets?
Probably, but it would have been during the day at like 1 o'clock
Yeah,
when all
like
the
kind of
retired ladies
random.
were watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, all the home mums just sitting
Yeah.
there chilling.
Why are you watching this?
We were watching.
What's going on?
Our childhoods were messed up,
Yeah.
sure.
That's what we were doing, you know. We're watching soap operas in the middle of the day. Let's do this. I'm gonna look at the stats for the tournament so far. All right,
Where
Config
we're
is
at
the highest rated
rating-wise.
player. Config is the highest rated player with a 1.51 rating, and I'm sure that helped today. Where
And he stepped
He
up
was
though.
gobbling up them ecos
Yeah.
yesterday.
then it goes Sergey.
That makes sense. He had some really
I feel
strong
like
games.
Esperanto
He-
has to be a bit up.
He's
there.
number
Sergey's
3.
been there pulling
Okay.
ends through a lot of games just individually.
So Esperanto's number 3. Then we've got old mate Breezy and Ethan coming in at 4 and
Sounds
5 respectively, and then it's Bottle.
Oh, okay. So he's still in there
What?
despite some of their results. Bottle's just like,
Yeah.
cool, I've got
Those
it.
scores. He got 16-1 and 16 what,
That's
5 or
crazy,
6?
right?
But he didn't bottle it.
No.
That's insane. All right, let's go look at the leaderboards. This is all brought to you by HLTV.org, the greatest stat website in the
Yes,
history of Counter-Strike.
Do you know what? So many other games as well don't have this kind of information. Like, we'd be so screwed about it.
Well, all
Yeah.
those other games suck. That's
That
half
is
the
true.
reason.
This is it.
They're all just posing.
Why
All
we
right,
got an esport
Posing,
and
they want
don't.
to be us.
let's just look at some of these other stat lines. Esperanto has... No, wait. Let's look at actual good ones. AWP kills per round.
Wow.
Krisha has the highest. Headshots doesn't matter. What else we got here? Most multi-kills is for old mate Sergey from Ents.
I'm really excited
Chad-
to see them start playing
Chad,
most of
let's-
the threes.
I want you to make your case as to why you want Nuke
Oh,
more even.
on
Oh,
the
we already
spot.
tried this. So I kind of did this a little bit with Jacob.
Yeah.
Did you hear most of it? Did you hear some of it?
No.
I think we've spoken about it before anyway.
Oh, you wanted
I want warehouse. I want
warehouse,
secret to be in
access.
warehouse.
but why do you want tees
Yeah.
that have it easier?
I don't want them to have it easier. What I want is to expend a lot of utility like they do to actually be able to hold on to some real estate. I think at the moment right now, going for secret control is not something which is like once you take it and you send a lot of numbers down there, you're not usually leaving somebody watching the flank, right? You
Yeah.
can easily get flanked down there and they can rotate in and box you in. I also think that if you get warehouse control, you have a huge piece to real estate, right? You've had to cross all that way. I think you have to adjust its positioning a little bit, make it a little bit more to the right-hand side.
But don't you think that'll make it more T-sided?
I think that there's a few. I think that the map at the moment plays well in the mid round. I think it's really boring at the start because you have to do smoke wall or you have to wait for utility. You have to wait for top molotovs. You have to wait for top smokes, and then you can do something, right? I think that is boring because it is. There's only really one game plan. Smoke wall. Hopefully force a rotation. Go from there.
I think there's a lot of good teams though making heaven pushes now. Like when you watch a Strauss a
From
lot,
ramp, yeah.
there's a lot of heaven pushes. There's a lot of ramp drops straight to lower because the vents have been
Yep.
removed. So Strauss abuses that by taking the control window.
I think
lot
that's
of-
nice though. I think that
I
the
do-
change is good.
I was saying earlier, I do want the Opposite Raptors back. I want the
Yes,
old HUD
please
back.
give us the full.
I'm okay with having it be very CT-sided.
If
I
I was
want it to be a CT-sided map.
I agree, but I think that there should be a couple more options at least at the start of rounds because I used to like it how you could blow open Squeaky and you could take that duel as immediately as you came in lobby as a T with the AWP straight through Squeaky, right?
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's something that we could definitely have again. I don't see why. It's favorable for both, right? It's spawn based as well. I also think that it would help facilitate upper rushes again. I think the returning the hut, having the window, another
a
way,
window,
yeah,
yes.
another way to pick again. I think that at the moment you can pick all the way from like on the top rafter all the way into the heart.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous angle.
That's really bad,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know why that
But
angle
you can't
exists.
set up for top executes in that case, right?
It's
And-
very awkward too if you're picking in the HUD.
Oh, the draw's done.
we're here. We're here. Okay. So Imperial Renegades to start the day off with. That's going to be
Yikes.
tough.
That's
Yeah.
a
banger.
rough one for your boys.
Well, the thing is, you saw Imperial just powder the bottoms of Cyberzen on Mirage today.
Yeah.
So if Renegades want to go for like the Lion's Den approach again, I don't think they're going to have it as easy as
No
they
way.
did today.
what was the other thing?
Fragsters
This
up
this
north.
Fragsters North is what Fragsters asked for. They want this matchup.
Really?
Yeah, they when on the interview with Frankie, he was like, "I want to play North."
But they lost to them at what's the one in Spain? Valencia. They played each obviously different rosters, but they played in Spain.
They want to battle back against that. They
Optic
want revenge.
Vows, yikes. That's a rough
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
Um,
Cybers and HR, so Hellraiser going to be happy.
but hold up, what you said, Sean, all the sleeping giants as you put
Yeah,
it, all missed each
they
other.
all dodged each other.
That's pretty cool. HR get a, I don't want to say a free win, but HR get a free win. Big Tyloo's cool. That's a chance for Big to turn it around.
Oh, Gambit Vega.
CIS, someone's getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Damn. Well, we're in for another.
There
tough
are
set of
also
matches.
tomorrow, don't leave after the Vega Gambit game because
Yeah.
we will have all the 2-2 matches happening tomorrow as well. So
So yes, we've got 9 games in
9
total.
games
Yeah.
tomorrow.
It's going to be a long day. It's going to be an exciting day.
Hmm.
Any closing thoughts on everything you've just seen, guys?
Maybe we can talk more about Nuke later.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
at home is really interested, apparently. But no, I think today most of them were expected results. Yeah, actually, I think, most of them were expected results.
Yeah, I think so. I think everything went according to plan. I like the matchups for tomorrow. The three sleeping giants in my eyes.
Mhm.
Dodge each other. Probably think that they're all going to advance.
Well, they should. If
They
they
should.
don't,
We won't get the whole Danish thing, though, so one Danish team will be.
one Danish team will have a chance
Yeah.
to play in the 2-2,
Yeah.
which is not too bad, actually.
Yes.
It's possible to get
All three.
all 3, so they should be happy.
It's going to be crazy.
Bloody Danes.
Why are they so
If
good?
they get
I
nuke
don't
as
know.
well. Just
I
make
know
it
why they're
easier.
so
It's
good.
disgusting.
Because it's bloody cold in that part of the world,
It's
and they
nothing
never
to
go
do.
outside.
Just keeps breeding good talent.
They're
either
still
way.
really tan, though, and tall.
Yes.
The
How are they
tallness
tan?
comes from
I don't know.
Vikings, tanning machines, tan beds. I
And
don't
they're
know,
really
maybe they go
attractive
that
as
way.
well.
machines?
How are they also attractive?
Are there tanning machines there? Is that what they're
Yeah.
I've assumed that
Sunbeds.
there's got to be everywhere, right?
Sunbeds everywhere,
At this
man.
point, it's 2018.
Yeah. Maybe they got them in their homes. Maybe
There you go.
Danes are aliens. And that's why they're so good at Counter-Strike.
They can
I'm looking
predict
at
I
what's
you,
think we're
Anders.
on to something.
Yeah, Anders is definitely an alien.
Yep, I could agree with that. But we are done, guys.
All right, let's
Thank
close
you
it up.
very much. Let's get ourselves off. Let's get ourselves home. Day 3 is done. Day 4 tomorrow. It brings more eliminations and some teams that will make it a little bit further forward. So make sure you come back for us, and let's see how it all happens tomorrow.
Loot bet. With Hellcase multi-cases, you're no longer restricted by random case opening mechanisms. Now, you are able to pick any of the cells containing skins and actually determine what you win. Use the promo code and dive right in.
I'm a soldier, I'm a fighter. You can't burn me, I'm the igniter. Gonna be a legend, gonna take it all. Watch me crush it like a wrecking